Action! There are three optics through which to study or regard Bitcoin as well as any cryptocurrency. There are three axes against which to measure it as it moves through its very colorful historical journey, which is now coming up on year 9. As I said in a previous video, Optic 1 or Axis 1 is political. Optic 2 or Axis 2 is economic, and Optic 3 or Axis 3 is technological. Let's take number 2, economic. Currency. What is currency? Somebody asked me just today if if I think he should wait to save up $4,000 for him to buy his first Bitcoin. He didn't understand that Bitcoin can be purchased in fractions. It's divisible. In other words, you can take $10 and buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. He did not know this, and this is perhaps one of the reasons why Bitcoin is not being adopted as quickly as it could otherwise be. So, what is currency? For the bulk of human history, during prehistoric times, during our hunter-gatherer experience, we did exchange value with one another, but we bartered goats, pumpkins, whatever it might be. Currency was invented long before writing, maybe hundreds of thousands of years ago. Beads, feathers. I'm crediting Andreas Antonopoulos with this observation. The next jump in currency, however, would be coins. And coins was a huge technological advancement. The Lydians, which is an ancient civilization that inhabited a land that is now where Lebanon is, the Lydians invented coins around 700 BC. And this was the first instance in which value would be exchanged without really attaching something that specific to it. Gold coins could be melted down into the fundamental gold, and you still had some kind of preservation of value. The next jump in currency would occur maybe the 16th century, where we started using fiat currency, paper bills and so forth. Not really attached as much, it's more derivative from the fundamental value. And then we made another jump just in the past century, in the 1950s, with credit cards. And each time a jump was made, we're now making a jump into cryptocurrency, digital tokens. Bitcoin's the pioneer of that. There's a resistance, there's a skepticism, there's a fear, there's a doubt, there's an uncertainty, and that's normal. I'm sure that when the Lydians showed up with coins, those who were bartering or using their precious trinkets and beads did not want to part with that medium of exchange. But ultimately we adopted coins. And the same would be the case when fiat currency was introduced. There's probably a tremendous resistance, a hesitation. And certainly that was the case when Diners Club introduced the first credit card in the 1950s. People didn't believe a little piece of plastic with some numbers on it could constitute a reliable medium of exchange. Currency fundamentally has 3 or 4 attributes or properties. Divisibility, has to be divisible. Fungibility, portability, and scarcity. If you're missing any one of these properties, you probably don't have a strong currency that's going to last and be relied on. Fundamentally, a currency is something, it has value if we agree that it has value. I think that Bitcoin is now a new currency, and we're very much in the early adoption phase, and nobody knows. The future is uncertain. Nobody can predict where it's going to go. But there are those who are saying that it will replace the dollar, the yen, the euro, that fiat currency as we know it, dollars, euros, will be obsolete in about 10 years, and we'll be using cryptocurrencies instead. On another video, we'll talk about the petrodollar and perhaps why Bitcoin might come into some resistance against the dollar. Can I go now? You're the boss.